So let's take a look here at the settings relative to the Copilot. I spent quite a bit of time today, probably over an hour, trying to figure out exactly what's going on for Copilot. I could not find any information other than sales literature relative to Copilot. So we'll take a look here in the car. Maybe we can discover something. So in order to make it where it will drive down the middle of the road, I had to put it to intelligent. You guys may or may not remember on the way back from Kearney, Nebraska to Ogallala, Kyle helped me with this. I had it set for normal cruise control, which is like basic fossil fuel cars. Adaptive cruise control is where you have a following distance, I believe, and intelligent is one up from there. But I had to go to intelligent for the little blue bubble to show up and keep me in the middle of the lane. All right, well, this is the binnacle screen that is without cruise control on and without lane keeping. It looks like some kind of an energy gauge. So if I turn on lane keeping, this button here, the binnacle changes and that little spidery thing shows up here. It's apparently a lane, a car with little arrow things kind of indicating that it keeps it in the lane. So that's cool. And if I turn on the cruise control, I now have the cruise control up here in the top right hand corner, the speed set. And then if you look at the spider icon, it has a little steering wheel there, which indicates that you're also on cruise control. All right, so all that stuff shows up here with the lane keeping on or off. Following distance is here. That's this button on top. Following distance will indicate up to 4 cars following or 4 seconds, however you want to consider that. And that's the following distance of the vehicle in front. Those are the controls I use to run the Copilot / lane keeping. But my heartburn is the blue circle. There's absolutely no documentation. I can guess that it is the Copilot, but without any documentation, I'm really unclear. So let's take this for a drive and I'll show you what it looks like out on the highway. We'll go up the highway all the way to Hendersonville. It's about 15 miles away. We'll run the lane keeping the entire way and let's just see how well it does. My experience is it does a good job. It's not Tesla autopilot, but it does a good job at lane keeping as long as you have your hand on the wheel. So let's go take a drive now. Let's go to the navigation here. We'll shrink these things by pressing this guy and we'll have all map. Well, that's all the map we get. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to drive down the road. I know when I took it on the back roads, Copilot didn't do very well at all on the back roads. It pretty near killed me a few times, but that's okay. We're going to take it out on the highway. Apparently that's where this works better. And we're going to drive all the way up north here on Interstate 26, all the way up into almost Hendersonville. There's a lot of highway there. The highway is curvy and turny, and I'd just like to see exactly what the highway does for the Copilot here in the Mach-E. So let's have a look. We are taking the Mach-E out today. We're on a quest. I am going to figure out exactly how well the Copilot works. Apparently, it doesn't seem to work well on back roads, which is fine. I am going to see how well it works out on the interstate. We're getting on Interstate 26. We're going to take it up. Now, while it's interstate, there are some curvy sections. This isn't just straight ahead. The curvy sections will allow us to see if the Copilot works. I'm going to set it for the speed limit here. I can do that. There we go. Okay, the co-pilot is set. I'm going to set it for 2 following distance here on the meter. And let's just see how it works. Now, one of the things that I was not able to find in nearly an hour of messing around, both on the Ford site, my mobile app, looking for Mach information on what you're looking at. So this right here, the blue circle around the car. Now I will take it out. Let me take it off cruise here for a minute. You see the green bars. The green bars indicate that it is okay to put it into lane keeping, okay? This little button right here, if I push it, you watch, lane keeping, and it throws the icon off the screen. I turn it back on, the icon shows up, and that is the only thing this button does right here. The next one above it is the following distance. You guys saw that. I set it for 2. Now I'm driving, and what this is telling me, the best of my knowledge from reading the manual, the online manual, the Ford website manual, the manual that comes with the app, which I believe is a version of the online manual, and it says absolutely nothing about what I'm going to show you next. So what I do is I'll push the cruise control button, this one, and if you watch in the top right hand corner of the binnacle, it shows up, right, at whatever speed I'm going. I push up on this, and it will then increment to whatever speed I set, right? So far, so good. Now, what I never saw, and I saw in absolutely none of the documentation, this little blue icon here. Whereas you see, if I go to the right, watch what happens. Or actually, I'll turn my blinker on, watch what happens. See, it shuts it off, doesn't it? But when I get centered up again, I get the little blue thing. I understood that to be co-pilot. Now, if it is co-pilot, it's a heck of a deep, dark secret, because I found it nowhere on Google searches, on the Ford site, on my app, or in the little book that came with the Mach E here. So, do I make the assumption that this is really, truly what it's supposed to look like in co-pilot? Okay, I'll give you that. But there's absolutely no documentation telling me what this blue circle is. Now, I'm a relatively smart guy. I kind of figured out that once I've centered up in the lane, the little blue thing shows up around it and it drives. Okay, I'll give you that. It's kind of a form of letting me know that it's driving the car. And right now, it is. We're following a truck there at 65, the adaptive cruise control. My following distance is all set. Okay, so far so good. But tell me, what does this blue circle really mean? Is it a precursor to new software coming out? Am I making a wrong assumption that this is Ford Copilot? I don't know. There's absolutely no documentation supporting that. So I would really, really like to know. Also, I would like to know if there's a location where a document exists to tell about this feature. I think it would be really cool to know what I paid for that's in my Mach E here. Okay, with that said, I'm going to back it up here so we can see what's going on. And I want you to keep an eye. Now, I'm going to keep my hand on the wheel to keep it happy. It needs a little rotational torque to keep it happy. And we're going to proceed here up the road. And doing 66 isn't going to cut it. So we're just going to go over here. We'll get up here. We'll do 5 over. And then we'll get back over in the lane here. Now, the lane keeping here in the Ford, I'm going to call it lane keeping because I'm not sure if co-pilot is an accurate description. does an okay job. It keeps me mostly in the lane. Sometimes it'll be to the right or the left, but most of the time it keeps me in the lane, no problem. So let's cruise along here. We're going to be going down slightly here. It's hard to tell on the picture, but we're going down, and then we're going to be going up. Oh, that looks nice. Some truck blasting out a bunch of smoke. Oof, smell like brakes. Or rubber, actually. Oof. That's another thing. The cabin filter needs some tweaking here in the Mach E. It's like there is no cabin filter. Alright, so we're now starting up the hill. It should keep us here. I'm going to stay in the left lane with all these trucks in the right lane. And we're just going to watch the lane keeping co-pilot. I guess that's what I'll call it. And see how it does on these turns here. Again, I've just got a little rotational torque with my fingers here to keep the sensor happy. So far so good on the lane keeping. We are in the left lane. There's nobody behind me, and very few people up there in front. So far so good. Yeah, it did okay. Had to kind of coax it. It wants to drive near trucks sometimes. Don't know why. Well, we'll flip around and head back south here. All right, we are back on 26. Set the cruise here. Alright, we are back on 26 now, headed to the east technically, but it's going north and south here. It's a little jiggy once in a while, like here. Right lane's kind of missing. Doesn't quite know where to go. Plus the sun's getting down in elevation, so like this. Whoa, stay over there. See, it gets confused pretty easy, especially around sharper turns. This is a relatively sharp turn to the right. Let's see what it does. Lane markings are okay. Yeah, on the inside it did fine. On the outside I've had it where it canceled by itself. Truck. now going down what's called Saluda Grade. It's usually pretty well marked through here. Uh-oh, got some trouble. I think it scared itself. It went, come on, you can do it. There. I think it scared itself. It went to the right and complained, and then didn't know what to do there for a second. But it's operating again. Well, it looked pretty good. I'll have to give it a good. It did a couple weird little things in there, but overall it did pretty well. I'll go ahead and cancel it now and get off the highway here and head home. So I drove up to Hendersonville and back, as you saw. The lane keeping / co-pilot did a pretty good job. There's a couple places that it got a little confused by the lack of markings on the road, but other than that, it did an okay job. However, in my opinion, I've had it in cases where it'll do weird things. So I think a good hand on the wheel at all times probably would be prudent. And I would have to say it gets a good rating. It's not excellent, it's not superb, it's just a good rating. So other than that, the lane keeping / co-pilot. So that brings me to my next thing. I'm not sure what you call the blue field that goes around the car once you get centered up in the lane is called. It's in absolutely no documentation at all. I looked everywhere. And now maybe it's a future feature that snuck in or something like that. I can't swear to that. However, it would sure be nice to know where and what that is called. Is that part of the new co-pilot? Is that just a feature they threw in at the last minute? I don't know. I'd sure like to know. I generally like to know everything in the car. So if someone knows where a link is to that, or maybe you guys at Ford actually have a new document out, send me the link. I'd love to go see it. And last note for today's run, I've mentioned this before on my drive back from Colorado, is that the cabin filter in this car is either defective or non-existent, or perhaps a filter that got missed by installing it. As you saw here, look at this video clip. This truck must have played with his brakes and locked up his brakes, and cloud of rubber smoke. I drove through it and I smelled every bit of it. So I'm not sure what's up with the cabin filter. Perhaps it's defective, or maybe it's not a good filter. I couldn't tell you. But maybe if I ever do take this in for service, I'll have them check it. But I would sure like to have a better filter on the cabin filter. If you like this video, go ahead and click the like, click the subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell icon to see more videos going forward. If you'd like to buy yourself a Tesla, the referral link is shown at the bottom of the screen. Will get you 1,000 free miles or 1,500 kilometers of free supercharging miles. Thank you for watching. I'll look for you again, and take care.